start our program today. What a wonderful breakfast we have and an incredible program with our mayors today. My name is Eric Roges, and I'm the executive pastor here. And on behalf of our senior pastor, Jeff Simmons, and all of our staff at Rolling Hills, we are so glad that we can host you once again here for Breakfast with the Mayors. As always, our tradition, I would like to open us up, and we'll open up our proceedings with a word of prayer. So if you would join me in prayer, that would be awesome. Our good and gracious Heavenly Father, we praise you for being our Creator, our Lord, and our King. We are so thankful to be able to live in a community like we do here in Middle Tennessee. It is just an honor and a blessing. And I pray today for these mayors, for these civic leaders, for the business leaders and organizational leaders that are here today. I pray for favor and blessing. I pray for wisdom as they lead in just a tumultuous time in our country. Lord, we ask for blessing and favor on this community, that we can be a beacon of light to all of Tennessee and to all of the country and even the world, Lord, as you're bringing so many people here to this area. Today, we ask that you help us to have eyes to see and ears to hear what it is you want us to learn, and we thank you for the blessing it is to be here. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much, Eric. Welcome, everybody. Don't get cranked back up, okay? Don't get started. Teresa, I kind of feel like I'm at the Rolling Stones concert I went to Sunday night.
Yeah.
They're all they're all ready to party or something.
I think they're a little rowdy this morning.
Okay, because we're going to get started on time, because we also like to get out of here on time and headed back to wherever that is you're going to. So I'm Mindy Tate, CEO of Franklin Tomorrow.
And I'm Teresa Ashworth Harris, the board chair for Franklin Tomorrow.
A little closer.
Yeah.
So we want to welcome you to our quarterly Breakfast with the Mayors, and we are so lucky to be able to get started here this morning because of our great sponsors. And Teresa, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, in 2024, Breakfast with the Mayors is being presented in partnership with Pinnacle Financial Partners and Gresham Smith as a co-presenting partner.
And I see several of their representatives, and if you're with Pinnacle or Gresham Smith, please stand so we can thank you for your support this year. That's great.
You have a video?
Oh, and we have a video from Gresham Smith that we're going to play right now.
As an architecture, engineering, and design firm, there are two sides to the work we do. The genuine side of building relationships and bettering communities, and the ingenuity side of solving problems and designing the future. It's when we combine our genuine approach with our design ingenuity that we're able to see the whole picture. The intricate details and the broader perspective, the contrast and the complements, the horizontal and the vertical, the people and the process, the two sides that make us whole. Gresham Smith, genuine ingenuity.
You know, that probably was really helpful to a lot of you, because you might have thought they were attorneys, right? I mean,
So we also want to thank Atmos Energy. They're represented by Kenny Hay and Christina Christensen, and they are our 2024 sustaining partners. I believe we have a video from Atmos as well.
RESPECT. We've heard the song, but what does it mean to respect the signs, markers, and flags that show the location of underground utility lines? When you call 811, all underground utility lines are marked with flags that indicate what type of utility line is buried underground. Atmos Energy's pipelines are marked by bright yellow flags which indicate the presence of a natural gas pipeline underground. You may also see signs like these right-of-way markers that indicate a public pipeline right-of-way, or these markers on the sidewalk. Marker signs display the product in the pipeline operator's name, and its emergency telephone number. The more you know, the safer our families and communities are. Thanks for all you do, for showing a little respect to the pipes underground and for your neighbors above ground.
I feel safer now, knowing what those flags mean. I feel safer. Definitely the gas one. If it was water, I'm sorry, city, I might be okay.
And the good news is I've seen those flags in a lot of yards and other places, so people are paying attention to 811. Our other sustaining partner is Williamson Health, and I believe we're going to hear from them by video this morning as well.
Right.
Every second counts during an emergency. Knowing when to drive to the ER and when to call 911 could save your life, especially when it comes to chest pain. Hello again, I am Jason Waller, and today at Williamson Medical Center, we're talking about what to do in these high-risk situations, drive or call. Chest pain can be caused by many different things. Some are minor, while others, like heart attacks, mean you need immediate medical attention. Symptoms like intense chest pressure, pain radiating to the arm, shortness of breath, and sudden dizziness are signs of cardiac distress and shouldn't be ignored. But how do you know whether to call 911 or to drive to the ER?
I 100% believe you need to call 911 and let us help you. Those situations would be a patient being unresponsive, trouble breathing. Time is of the essence, and so those would be things like stroke, chest pain, heart attack. So symptoms of stroke, facial droop, weakness, numbness, trouble walking, trouble talking.
When you call 911, Williamson Health's EMS team brings high-quality medical response, innovative technology, and evidence-based clinical practices right where you are, and continues emergency care until you reach the hospital.
One case in particular I had just last week was a patient who was having severe chest pain. He called 911. Our medics were able to quickly identify with a readout of his heart that he was having a blockage. He was having a heart attack.
ECall Medic 1 transporting emergency to Williamson.
And so our technology allowed them to send that EKG from the field to me in real time while the patient was still on scene. We were able to reach out to our interventional cardiologists, get our cath lab team in place, and by the time the patient hit the door, having already received medical care, we were able to take that patient actually directly from the EMS stretcher to the cath lab and get that blocked vessel opened up.
Our EMS teams are equipped with cutting-edge technology, like the Lucas 3 automated CPR machine, which maintains chest compressions during transport to the hospital. And they even have the capability to administer blood in the field when needed, bringing more essential care right where you are.
We're here to serve and protect our families, our friends, our neighbors. I think that's a huge part of why we are so passionate about delivering excellent care, is because we're delivering it for our friends, for our neighbors, for our families, and we want the best care possible for you.
So we have some additional partners that I would like to thank. Platinum partners for 2024 are UHY Audit, Advisory, and Tax Consulting, First Bank, Hazen and Sawyer, as well as Vulcan Materials Company and Williamson Memorial Funeral Home and Cremation Services. Gold sponsors for Breakfast with the Mayors include Middle Tennessee Electric and Vanderbilt University.
And I forgot to mention that Williamson Health and their emergency medical services will be our program at our next Frank Talks on Monday, May 13th. It is the 50th anniversary of emergency medical services in Williamson County, so we're going to learn a little bit more about that. But finally, let me thank Stacked Express, which is opening in the Cool Springs Galleria later this month or early June. They're part of the Pancake Pantry, and they provided breakfast this morning. Thank them if you would like breakfast. And we couldn't do this without our friends at the Lion Leadership Group, our local McDonald's franchisee, for the coffee, which always gets us going in the mornings, and we appreciate that. It's important for us to take the time to thank our partners, because they're the reason that a breakfast like this can be free to attend, and that's very important, one of the hallmarks of Franklin Tomorrow, because our mission is to engage the community, foster collaboration, and then advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. And so we appreciate that you are here this morning. And let's thank everybody one more time and give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, I'm going to call up the big and little mayors now. The Mayor Rogers Anderson, Williamson County Mayor, and Mayor Ken Moore to come to the stage. Do you get the big and little? Is it tall and short or? They came up with it, not me. Rogers, you have anything to tell us?
This one. Well, good morning, Mindy. Thanks for identifying me as the little mayor. Well,
He's okay with that, apparently.
so there's one special PR that I need to make. You introduced Atmos, but we have a gentleman here that's retiring from Atmos, Kenny Hay, later, probably before we have another event. So where is Kenny? I know he's sitting out there somewhere. Stand up, Kenny. 30 some odd years working for Atmos.
Woo!
And if I could, 30 days, about a month from today, we're having the Memorial Day services at 5 Points. If you're a veteran in the audience today, would you stand so we can say thank you? Ken and I are veterans, so come on.
So, you got anything else? What's going on in the county?
Lots of things are
Okay,
going on.
oh,
in the
okay.
county. But let me highlight a few things.
Yeah, we might get into those in the questions with
Get it
all
all,
the
big
mayors. You know, we might get into those.
I would like to introduce the city mayor of Franklin, Dr. Ken Moore. He's new to the community. He's trying to navigate his way around the community. And so if you would introduce him.
I bet there are a lot of people who would be happy to tell him where to go and how to get
Oh,
there.
they tell him where to go. All right. It's yours, Ken.
Aren't we nice? Good
Well,
morning.
Good morning. And when are you going to
Say
run
a few
the trailer?
things. Whatever you
Oh,
want.
okay. Well, I've actually changed what I was going to say this morning. I was going to give some announcements like Wednesday is the National Day of Prayer, May the 2nd at Eastern Flank Battlefield. Actually, Thursday, I'm sorry. State of the City is next week, this location. And then stay tuned for opening of the water reclamation facility in the Harlansdale pedestrian bridge. But I changed my mind what I was going to say this morning. I read the Wall Street Journal this morning. Inside there was an article about the growth in our region. It talked about home prices. It talked about the availability of jobs and all those things and all those pressures that we know are happening in our community. But I quickly went back to yesterday. Yesterday, we had a ceremony downtown honoring lost heroes and unveiling of the Jimmy Gentry statue that recognizes the lost heroes. And the turnout of our community for that event and the patriotism and the community attitude that I saw there, I think we're in good shape to continue to move forward and grow in a reasonable fashion and keep what we have, which is so important to us, the quality of life that we have. So, State of the City next week, I am so excited. I saw the trailer that's going to be kind of the opening 4 minutes or so of the program. But here's a little snippet that we're going to see right now to help introduce Mission Possible.
Let's sit down. Wow. Wow.
Well, I've got to say thank you to our communications department. I saw Melissa and Monique here this morning, and they work so hard to make sure that the public is informed about what's happening in our city, and I want to just give a special recognition to them.
And yes. Fortunately, they have somebody willing to try new things, huh? Like dropping suspended and things like that?
You've just seen a snippet of what's
Okay.
going to happen. It's
So
really fun.
next Tuesday morning here, 7 a.m. breakfast, 7:45 program, right?
Exactly.
And no need to RSVP, just show up and it's free as well. So thank you so much. If you will, silence your cell phones for us as we get started now. And now I'd like to welcome to the stage Brentwood Mayor Mark Gorman, Fairview Mayor Lisa Anderson, Spring Hill Mayor Jim Hageman, Nolensville Mayor Hallie Gallick, and Thompson Station Mayor Brian Stover. I think I got all of them.
Hey, Mark, good to see you.
So this is so great to have all of these folks with us this morning. Thank you all for being here. So this is probably going to be a little less difficult than, say, the last County Growth Board meeting or something like that. We'll talk about that. But have a seat if you want. Have a seat, and we'll make room for everybody. Here's room for you. One seat for you. Or I can stand if I have to. All right, great to see you all. So, we are excited to have you all here this morning. The order of our speakers, just so to warn you all, how about that? We would love for you to know that we're going to go Brentwood, Fairview, Nolensville, Spring Hill, and Thompson Station. That's alphabetical order, no favoritism there, it's alphabetical order. So we welcome you here. Mayor Gorman, I know you may have to leave a little early, so if we run a little long, he may have to leave. I don't want you all to think he just got up and left or anything like that. So Mark, start us off this morning. Tell us what's happening in Brentwood this morning.
Thank you so much, Mindy. What a pleasure to be here with you all this morning. This is my first time to be at this event, so I don't have all the slick slides, and I'm not Superman, that's for sure, but that's pretty good stuff, Ken. I've got to work with our team for sure. But I want to talk just a little bit about Brentwood. We've got three things. The first one is Brentwood is not broken, and we will continue to foster balanced and responsible growth in Brentwood. So Brentwood is based on 1 home per acre density. That kind of got out of whack a few years ago, but we've got it reined back in. And, not overrunning our infrastructure has been something that we've really been focused on. So we've got some issues, if you will. We don't perceive them to be problems, but issues that we're working on. How do we keep Maryland Farms and the AT&T building relevant? We think we've got a solution for one of those, and you'll probably hear about that in a week or two. The next one, we're not going to upzone. We get requests on a real regular basis to upzone property and increase the use. We're not going to do that in Brentwood because, again, it goes back to we don't want to overrun our infrastructure. We define our infrastructure as roads, schools, even though they're not Brentwood schools, we're stakeholders in the schools, and we don't want to overrun that. And then the sewer as well. The next big one is public safety. So public safety is all in the national news. And what we've discovered is unless people are safe and they feel safe, the rest doesn't really matter. So you can have the greatest park system, you can have the greatest schools, you can have the greatest libraries, all of that type stuff. But unless people are safe and feel safe, it doesn't matter. So what are we going to do about that in Brentwood? We will continue to robustly fund our police and fire. We're so proud of our people that put themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. I mean, there's a special place in heaven for folks that do that for sure. We're the gateway to Williamson County from Nashville. And unfortunately, public safety is very much different in Nashville than it is in Williamson County. And so we will continue to focus on public safety. Then kind of the final thing, we haven't had very many city managers in Brentwood. We've been very fortunate to have long tenured city managers. Kirk Bednar, our city manager, he announced very early that he was going to retire in February of 2025. And he announced this 2 months ago. That's just unprecedented to have someone give us that kind of notice. But we wanted to make sure and get this right. So we're going to spend a lot of time doing a nationwide search to find that new city manager. So, in closing, Brentwood is not broken. We're going to keep a steady hand on the wheel, and the budget is wrapping up, and we will continue to maintain our AAA bond rating with no tax increase. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Gorman. Thank you, Mayor Gorman. And we'll now hear from Fairview Mayor Lisa Anderson. Thank you, Mayor.
Hello, everyone. I was very excited to be elected mayor a little over a year ago. We are just out in Fairview. We are just really growing at a fast pace right now. Our biggest challenge is Highway 100. We share that highway with Dixon, Hickman, everyone. That's kind of a thoroughfare from, that part of town all the way to Nashville. So our challenge is we would like to see TDOT widen that road. We have around 3,000 rooftops that have been approved right now to be built. So with that happening, we do need to increase, have that road widened. So I'm hoping that TDOT will work with us to get that done for our community. About a little over a year ago, we put a new playground in our 700-acre nature park, which is unique to our community. We have Bowie Nature Park, 700 acres, 5 lakes, trails. It's just the gem of Fairview, and we're excited that our community is able to have that and be able to enjoy it and all the nature there. We just had an Arbor Day celebration there. We're Tree City, and the Forestry Department of Tennessee came and handed out trees to our community, and our children got to do a scavenger hunt and learn all about trees. So that was exciting to be able to have that in our nature park. We also put in a $750,000 new playground for our community, which is really exciting. When I was elected, one of my main goals, our fire and police had not had a substantial raise in quite a while. My goal was to give them that raise to help us be competitive with the rest of the community. We have brought in new officers who are excited to live in our community, and now they can afford it with this raise. So that's just, public safety is very important to me. We are in the process right now under design development for a new fire department. We have one now. We're going to have another one on the other side of town, a new police department, courthouse. So that's just some really exciting things that are going on in Fairview. The community support that we've had and them seeing that how much we care about their safety, about keeping Fairview growing at a good rate to be able to support our community, but also growth that is something that's characteristic of Fairview, more the medium-sized lots instead of high density. That's kind of our goal. But I just what's going on in our community is more I think our citizens and our staff and police and fire, there's a unity now that I have not seen in a long time. I've lived in Fairview 30 years, served on the Planning Commission for 15, 2 years of vice mayor, and then became mayor, and I've never seen it as good as it is now. And also with all of the growth and development, we've got new businesses coming. We've hired Patty Carroll, who used to be our mayor a few terms ago. She knows everyone. She was with Congressman Mark Green's office for several years and just has many contacts. And we hired her as our development director for Fairview. So we've just got a lot of exciting things going on. So I hope everyone can come visit. We have a great community. Thank you.
So Mayor Hallie Gallick from Nolensville.
Hi, I'm Haley Gallick with the town of Nolensville, and I always feel a little bit out of my league getting up here with people like this, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to come and share a little bit about what's going on in the town of Nolensville. I have a few slides because I tend to be a little bit of an overachiever. We have a communications department, but it's interesting when you look at the different towns because we are all at different life cycles with the progression of some towns have been around for a very long time, and then there's other towns like Nolensville that is a lot newer. So when you kind of cycle through these slides, and I don't know who has the clicker, but whoever has that can kind of just put them on, keep going through them. The first slide talks about public works. So this might be simple to everybody else that's up here representing their town, but our town now has the ability to replace sidewalks. We now have people that can do concrete. Simple things like snow removal. That helps our community, and it's something that our community hasn't been able to do before, but we now have that service. There's been a lot of work throughout our community on a special census, which was completed just recently. We're now at 16,800 and change for people. That's a lot of growth in our community. Like Brentwood, we have also gone through a lot of effort to try to make sure that we're being responsible with how quickly the town grows so that we can keep up with our infrastructure projects. And the next slide shows something from our engineering department. We're also working on stormwater. A lot of the updates that we have maybe aren't as exciting, but they're about the work that town government does to serve citizens. We also have, you can keep going through, a new fire station. This will be the first fire station that our community has built. We've partnered previously with the county for a fire station. But about 3 years ago, the town of Nolensville started its first paid fire department. Nolensville also tremendously focuses on public safety. Along with that fire department, we have our police department, which achieved accreditation for the first time this year. If you're not familiar with the accreditation program, it's a state program, and it really shows that our police department is doing absolutely everything that they can to serve the community at the highest level. We are very, very proud of our police department and our fire department and the way that our public safety professionals serve the community. We also have focused on transparency to the public. I think this is really something that's important. We want to be transparent. We also want to share accurate information about how long infrastructure projects take from beginning to end. Each of the slides that are in this little slideshow are information that's publicly available that we continuously push out to the public, either through social media or through our website. We have project updates. And again, I know for many people with Franklin, this might be old news, but for us, this is very exciting, and our staff has worked so hard to make this a reality to share with our community. And then last, our project that we're pretty excited about is a project off of Sunset Road to hopefully bring the first town of Nolensville park facility. All the park facilities in Nolensville, Williamson County has very graciously offered for a number of years, along with hopefully being able to put a police station, which our police department very desperately needs. So we appreciate the opportunity to work together with the other cities and towns across the county and to share a few updates. And if you've not been to Nolensville, I would love to invite you to come and spend a few of your tax dollars at any of our local restaurants or stores. We would love to have you come spend the day with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim.
Well, good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. Guten Morgen. I'm the mayor of Spring Hill. Earlier when I was in high school and then in college and then in the military, after I retired from the military, one of the things that I always learned playing sports or in the military and now being a public servant, it is all about teamwork. And I want to give a shout out to the team that I get to serve with, the other public servants, my aldermen, as well as the incredible staff that we have at Spring Hill, as well as the incredible volunteers that serve on our boards, our commissions, and our committees. And so without them, Spring Hill cannot be as awesome that it is. And Spring Hill is awesome, and here's a few of the reasons why. We are unique. We have this thing called Groove Life. If you guys hold up your ring finger hand, some of you or your children may be wearing these kind of rings that are silicone. And I'm wearing a belt by Groove Life right here, and they make other products, but the issue is, or not the issue, but the praise is that Groove Life is unique to Spring Hill because they set up their worldwide headquarters there. Another thing great about Spring Hill that makes it so awesome is a place called Worldwide Stages. And I want to give a shout out to Worldwide Stages and the chief executive officer of that company. And Worldwide Stages is a place where production is done, and it's an event venue. So Nicole Kidman recently finished a major motion picture there. It's not out on screen yet, but A-listers that from all different genres of music, they practice their crafts there, and then they go out on the road, and there are movies that are made there with Hallmark and just all kinds of things. But the reason I'm saying that is because it's unique to Spring Hill. And that is, when I go and I talk to events like this, I love to say the uniqueness of Spring Hill. We don't have, one of the things we don't have, we're not the county seat like Mayor Moore. And by the way, Mayor Moore, you're flying through the air. That was awesome. And so, talking about the team, the shout out that Mayor Moore gave to his media team, I jump on that bandwagon because great job, guys. That's very entertaining. Well done. We have Groove Life. We have Worldwide Stages. We are a place where people want to be, so much so that the growth that's happening in our area, people have set up shop there. For example, Hy-Vee Grocery Store. First one that we come into Tennessee will set up shop in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We are getting a new restaurant. We are a new high-end restaurant. We are getting, the United States Tennis Association is developing several acres in Spring Hill, and they're coming to Spring Hill, Tennessee because they've done their due diligence and homework and say, this is the place where we want to be to set up shop because it's going to draw and it's going to promote our craft. We are developing a 775-acre development over the next 20 years, a place it's called June Lake. And I give a shout out to the developers of that because June Lake is a place where so much so that it's needed and wanted, so much so that the Tennessee Department of Transportation, also known as TDOT, has decided to spend a lot of money with our taxpayers' money to build a new interchange there off Highway 65. And that'll open up a lot of things to development, to economic development, and it's just very exciting. Bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, is that Spring Hill is a place where people want to be, and I'm incredibly blessed. I'm incredibly honored to be a representative with a team that's part of that. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, you're batting cleanup, okay?
All right, I've got it. Thank you all. My name is Brian Stover. I'm the mayor of Thompson Station. You were a good neighbor. Thank you. Should have some slides coming up very shortly, but wanted to invite everyone to our open house that we have coming up on May 14th, and that is to celebrate our new town hall. One of the goals I had when I took over as mayor, our staff was in separate buildings. No one was under one roof. So we took the opportunity to take over this piece of property along Columbia Pike in the subdivision that's being developed over there. And basically, I want to invite everyone to come look at this. It is a great piece of history for our town. It was an old pole barn from years ago. I knew I did something right a couple weeks ago when I started seeing prom pictures being done in front of this town hall. And that's exactly what we want it for. This is not just a building where employees show up to work. This is the town's building. And that's what we hope to inspire it for. And when you go on the tour, you will see we have the fanciest break room of any town hall in Williamson County. But please come by and see it. One of the other things we want to talk about is some of the stuff we've been doing over the past year, 2 years, and that's really highlighting our parks. We have about 250 acres of parkland within the town of Thompson Station. So we've really highlighted that and what we can do to make it grow. We've applied for a lot of grants and a lot of different funding, but the biggest project was the master plan for the parks, the trails that we're putting in, the growth of what we can see through everything. But everything else is the general plan that we've updated, our mass thoroughfare plan to work on this little situation called traffic we have around here so we can try and get stuff through here. And the parks master plan, again, is to really highlight where we're going and what we're doing. And what we did through that was a lot of community engagement and kind of heard what the citizens wanted. And some of the highlights of what they really wanted, tennis courts, community pools, splash pads, playgrounds, greenways, but just a place to meet, a place to go and have community. And that's the big thing in Thompson Station. Everything I do is based around family. We have a lot of young children in our neighborhood, and we really want to make sure this is the area they grow up in that they will remember. So we're really developing that to highlight everything we have. You know, a couple years ago during COVID, a lot of people discovered our parks and fell in love with them. So they didn't have to go as far as what they did. Now we have people coming from all around enjoying those. So it's really a highlight of what we do from a town standpoint, and we're putting a lot of effort into that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the one person who's been working the hardest on it. His name is Michael Wood. He's our town planner. Effective tomorrow, he'll have a new title. It's town administrator and town planner. So he'll be taking the charge of running Thompson Station day to day. So he'll be our interim town administrator and taking on that charge. So if you would, thank you. We are blessed to have him on board. He understands the needs of the town and really look forward to working with him. But again, Thompson Station is the little town that could, and we continue to grow and continue to do everything. So thank you for your time.
Okay, I'm gonna start on that end. Do you have a microphone, Rogers? Great. So, and I'm gonna ask this of each of you, but you've got 30 seconds to answer it. So start the timer. But summarize your mission statement as city or county mayor. Summarize your mission statement.
What's the question?
What's your mission statement? And you've got 30 seconds to tell us.
Continue to, in 30 seconds, we don't have a written down mission statement, but it would be to provide the services needed to continue to be one of the best counties in the state and in the nation, working with our city partners and other affiliations. All they're good people.
But also, what gets you up and keeps you going to the office every day?
It's the same thing because of the growth and how do you manage that and the costs that those bring with the growth, whether it's in the areas of schools, which we're responsible for, or solid waste, you name it, it's all of that. But I still believe if you've got good people, good public policy, we can continue to have Williamson County at the forefront for the next 25 years.
Great. Mayor Stover, summarize your mission statement as the mayor of Thompson Station.
I think the biggest thing we have is where the town meets the country, and we're trying to preserve as much of that land as possible throughout, you know, our development plan of what we're doing, and fulfill the goals of what the residents are looking for through the master park plan, the thoroughfare plan, but it really be an engaging town that everyone wants to stay in, that we give them all the benefits of what they need to just stay there and not go anywhere else.
Is being mayor what you thought it was going to be?
I'm sorry?
Is being mayor what you thought it was going to be? Okay, well, you answered that question then.
I laughed because I had dinner with some friends the other night, and they all just look at the table like, Stover, you're really a mayor? Really? So it is. It's been very fun. I enjoy it. And it's enjoyable because I have a fantastic staff that does everything. So the majority of the mayors up here, we all have full-time jobs. So our staffs do 95% of everything. So I can't thank it. If you work for a municipality or a town, thank you for the work you do. And it's been enjoyable to see everything come together from our town standpoint since I took over as mayor.
Great. Mayor Moore?
I think I'm wired up somehow or other, but you know, we're currently going through our strategic plan and shortening our mission statement, but I think to summarize it quickly is that we want to continue to be a choice for people, the top choice for people to live, work, and raise their family. So that's it in a nutshell, I think.
Right. Mayor Anderson?
Unity and transparency for our community so that they have confidence while we serve them in their needs.
Great. Mayor Hagman?
I would say that our mission statement, we don't have one defined on writing mission, vision, and values, but I would say to surmise it would be that when somebody gets stopped on the street and they have a camera, a newspaper in their face, something, and they say, hey, where are you from? And the person that would answer that question, who is from Spring Hill, say, I'm from Spring Hill and I love it. And the reason they would love it is because we're all that. We have a little bit ways to go, but that's our mission. Thank you.
So I think the wonderful thing is that almost everyone has said the same thing for why, like what the mission statement for their city or town is, but Nolensville does want to be a wonderful place to live, work, and play. The reason why I wanted to be involved was really because of my family and my children. That I wanted to show my children that we can contribute and that we can be a part of the community to leave it a better place. But I think all of the missions really are largely the same, and I think that's wonderful.
Mayor Foreman?
So what we focus on in Brentwood from a mission perspective is continuing to develop, foster, and protect what makes Brentwood one of the most desirable cities in the United States to live. Thank you.
Thank you. So, great. So later today, the Williamson County Growth Plan Coordinating Committee will meet to discuss the proposed urban growth boundaries for Williamson County. How do you feel the process has gone, and what are the next steps? I'm going to ask Rogers to start again because I want you to explain the process. When I talk about the Williamson County Growth Plan Coordinating Committee, I want you to talk about what the process is, because we're not just growing out there and going out there. There are plans in place, right, Rogers?
Well, thank you, Mindy. It started back in 1999, 2000, when the legislators said cities and counties, states get together and come up with a plan of how you want your city to look like for the next 20 years. That 20 years plus has gone by. During those early years of 2000, 2001, and 2002, each of these cities, municipalities, said this is where we want to grow or not grow, and these are the areas, and we call those urban growth boundaries. Fast forward to 2023, we started that process again, and we said let's all get back together again and let's define those boundaries. Where does Thompson Station all the way down the road here to Brentwood? What is your growth? Where do you want to grow? How do you want to grow? And by the way, let's see if we can't cut this time frame down from 20 years. Let's bring it more into respective numbers of 5 to 6, 7 years. And so that's the process we're in. And of course, everyone has to bring forth their plan. It has to be approved by their board of aldermen or commissioners, and it's still a journey to go before we get there. But those new boundaries, we're working towards trying to have that done in this county, hopefully by the end of 2024 or certainly 2025.
In annexation, the legislature has also moved to allow annexation only by request of property owner, correct?
So annexation doesn't bother the county because they're always going out, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the cities have to define where they're going to grow, which provides that rural area, the county side, the unincorporated side, our ability to plan when they decide to grow over the next 3 to 5, 7, 10, and 20 years. Again, the legislators can go back in session. I don't know if any of them are here this morning. They don't need to go back into session this week. They've done enough damage up there on the Hill. Let us get through this, but they ultimately control, by virtue of TCA code, of how you can grow. But we do need a plan, and urban growth boundary is just another tool in your toolkit.
And just to clarify, just because something in someone's urban growth boundary, that doesn't mean development's going to happen there the next day, because there still has to be a plan of services and the ability to serve those areas, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So all of y'all been participating in the Growth Plan Coordinating Committee. How do you feel it's going? Are you positive that we can come to some conclusion in the next few months over this with your boards? So I'm just going to throw that out there, and if anybody wants to be brave enough to jump on it, I'll let you go. Okay, or not, you know.
The easy answer is that it's a public body, so we couldn't discuss, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, we couldn't discuss where our votes would be on that because we are all voting members of that, so that's the easy answer. The truth is it's been a very long process. So it involved meetings locally for each of our jurisdictions, and then the coordinating committee that's also made up of other county commissioners and other representatives has met numerous times. It's been fascinating to see how development works in other cities and towns because it hasn't been the same feedback for each city or town. It's been very frustrating at times, but I will say that it's helped us to get to know each other quite a bit better. But I don't think we could say how we think it would end because we have to vote. We may have to vote later today at 3 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah. Process has gone as it should. It's held numerous meetings and lots of discussion.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of robust discussion and more involvement from residents than I ever would have imagined. We've heard from different residents that are in the county that are being included in different municipalities' urban growth boundaries that say, hey, I don't want to be in this urban growth boundary. And so you kind of step back a little bit and you look at private property rights and it's like, no, this is not annexation, but it's a step towards annexation. And so it's been, from my perspective, a very interesting study in civics, if you will, as it relates to private property and people having things done to them, and they're not allowed to because they're not in the different municipalities. They're not allowed to vote for these folks. And we as elected officials will listen to everyone, however we listen closest to our voters. But we meet this afternoon, so we're all going to get to be back together again at the Ag Center at 3 o'clock. So if you don't have anything going on this afternoon, come to the Ag Center.
Yes, that would be great. So, all right, we're going to move on to say, what is the greatest untapped resource in your community? What is the greatest untapped resource in your community? Thank you, Mark. It's on. They're on.
Start with somebody else.
So, Lisa, what's the...
Okay, all right, so I see how this is going. I thought you were going to ask each. Okay, so I believe that the greatest untapped resource in every community, certainly in Spring Hill, which I can speak for, is the human resource. And as I have lived my life and certainly had a front row seat as a civil servant in Spring Hill, there are so many people with so many talents that are so willing to share those talents, and they're just waiting for a venue to do that. So the human resources that exist in Spring Hill is untapped, and it's great to be a representative of them and to bring them on board in some form or capacity. So that's my answer, the human resource.
Great. Mayor Stover?
So I think one of the greatest resources in Thompson Station is, at night, is the dark skies of our town. We don't allow overhead lighting of a certain aspect. And you can sit in your back porch and just look up and see the beautiful stars and everything. So I really think it's a hidden gem of what we have in our town, quite honestly. But to what Mayor Hageman said, the people of our community are really the hidden gem of, they are what makes the town. And we strive to really kind of adhere to what makes them want to stay in Thompson Station. But for me, the dark skies are the greatest thing. When I was a teenager, growing up in Thompson Station, we would always look at all around and what's going on. You get to Nashville, light pollution, everything else. But when you get out to where we're at, you can look up and see the beautiful stars. It's great.
Anybody else?
I think what you're hearing is just how unique each community is in our county and how they're so special and how they're viewed differently by everybody that lives there and leads those communities. But I think for Franklin, the Harpeth River is a resource that we have not really utilized to its fullest potential. And I think that's a lot of what's going to happen in the future, more trail systems along the river, more opportunities to use the river and just to see the river. It's a very calming thing.
Great. Anybody else?
Our largest untapped resource, similar to what Mayor Moore said, is Mill Creek. We've done a lot of work with our zoning ordinance to try to encourage responsible and protect the Mill Creek resource because it's beautiful. It's part of what makes Nolensville special.
Maren?
We have a 700-acre nature park that is unique to our community and to Williamson County. We have a lot of people visit that park, but not near as many as should visit it. It's got many lakes, hundreds of acres of trails, and just, many species of trees and animals. And it's just something worth seeing and something that our community is very proud of. Also, we just added a person to the Planning Commission. A lot of times in our community, we'll ask for people to volunteer, and on the Planning Commission and other of our boards, we have a wonderful Board of Commissioners and Planning Commission, and this last go-round of adding someone to the Planning Commission, we probably had 8 people, which is a lot for us to have, for one seat. And when those people came up and spoke, I just noticed how incredible and just educated and smart and care about community a lot of these people and new people to our community are. So I would love to tap into the knowledge that they have and kind of, make some changes every once in a while and let new life and blood onto these boards so that we can get their input as well.
Right. So most of these questions were submitted by registrants, people who are here today. We offered them the opportunity. See, you could have registered and asked a question, and I might have asked it too, so that might have been good. But so would you favor raising the sales tax, if the legislature allowed it, for infrastructure or dedicated cost, or to fund transportation or infrastructure? Several years ago, the sales tax was raised with a dedicated funding for schools. Would you favor taking that approach for something like infrastructure or transportation cost in the community? So throwing that out there.
I'll take that one.
Okay, Mayor Moore.
We just saw the Transportation Modernization Act by the Tennessee General Assembly, and they poured $3 billion into roads, and which is divided among the 4 TDOT districts in the state. That was a one-time infusion, and they're going to be able to complete an identified list of projects within the next 10 years. As all of you have told me, your biggest concern is transportation and traffic in our community. And we reached out to be in that list of projects and offered to put $5 million in on widening Southeast McHatcher. We didn't even make the list. I know another community put in $30 million and didn't even make the list. I think what that signals is that the fact that we're a pay-as-you-go state for our roads, maybe we need to be reevaluating how we fund our roads in the future. I don't know what that formula is. It may be some degree of bonding roads. It may be another revenue stream, but I think that that day whenever we talk about being a pay-as-you-go state, we need to reevaluate how we're going to continue to move forward on these major infrastructure needs we have.
Because all of you have state roads running through the center or directly through your towns. So
and we fixed many of them.
And we fixed many of them. So Franklin says they have any other thoughts on whether you would say that would be a good option?
So Nolensville's quite a bit smaller. We're 10 square miles. We have one north-south road in the entire town. And it's a state highway, and we have struggled to get improvements to that. It's an economic development issue. If people cannot move through your community, they cannot visit your businesses. In terms of how we pay for the roads in Nolensville, I showed you the project list that we've got going. We have a tremendous amount of road projects that are in process. They take an incredibly long period of time to get from the concept plan to the environmental NEPA evaluation that has to be taken through. There are federal requirements that even locally we have to meet to protect the environment, which is important. But when you talk to somebody that sits in traffic with their 9-month-old baby in the back seat crying, they care about getting through your community. We've not been able to magically change that in Nolensville, just like all of our other Williamson County partners have not been able to change that. What scares me the most in Nolensville is how, once we get each of these projects to construction, I've been on the board for 3 years, we've not gotten a single road project to construction. is how we will eventually pay for those. There has to be additional resources. 1 penny on the tax rate in Nolensville raises about $80,000. We have one road in Nolensville that is projected to cost $15 to $20 million. It's not a state highway, which means that the taxpayers of Nolensville will wholly fund that improvement. And 1 penny on your tax rate is $80,000. With a 29-cent tax rate, I have no idea how the town of Nolensville will pay for those infrastructure projects, but it is very important that each of the communities work together and work with the legislature to find those sources.
Great. Any other comments? Okay, I always think it's important, as it's 8:40 and we try to end on time, but I want to ask you to talk to this group here today. And what is the most important thing we as individual citizens can do to improve the city in which we live, our county of Williamson, and then again, our nation? What can we do to help you do your job as well?
Yeah, so one of the videos, the snippets that we had there is a song, the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. That's an Aretha Franklin tune. She's amazing. She was amazing. And I think that that anything that you do, whatever kind of bandwagon that you're going down, is contagious, whether it's a negativity or whether it's positivity. And so respect is a component of character, or respect is a component of society that has to do with everything. And everything specifically that I would encourage our citizens to do is to respect the natural resources that we have, preserving it, we have in Spring Hill, we have a water conservation it kicks off every summer when things get tight, but to respect the rules that are in place, because ultimately it's good for the entire community. And so to respect each other on social media, to respect each other when you just see anybody on the street. Don't judge a book by its cover. Just be respectful. And I think for me, that's the bottom line that I would encourage my citizens to do in all that there is out there. Thank you.
I think the biggest thing is just understanding the process, educating yourself on what authority we have to do things and what rules we have to follow. I think that is the single biggest thing that I do the most, is educate people on what we as a board of mayor and aldermen can and cannot do, where the funding comes from, what happens. But I think, as Mayor Hageman said, we've all got to come together as a community and stop arguing and fighting over things. If we're a fragmented group, we get nothing done. If we come together, we get a lot done. So I think that is the biggest challenge we have, is really, uniting everyone, coming together, understanding the process, and picking a goal, going after it, and getting it complete.
Louis Grizzard, the late comedian, used to say, if you don't like the way we do it here, Delta's ready whenever you are. Sometimes things are different than where people may have moved from. How the process works here is different. So getting involved is really important for sure.
I'll take that a little step further. So folks have moved in from different areas. We need to remember we are Tennesseans. We are welcoming. Don't argue. Everyone moves here from different areas for different reasons. My mom and I moved here in 1986 from West Virginia. We were welcomed with open arms. We've got to get back to that process. I understand everyone thinks a little differently and they come from different areas. We have to endear ourselves. You have to have a compassionate heart.
Well, he was from Georgia anyway, so Mayor Anderson, I think you had
So
something.
is my wife.
Well, I would encourage, first of all, you need to get registered to vote. If you like what these mayors are doing or don't like, the only way you're going to get rid of us is vote us out. Number two is know the candidates. Know the candidates. Know who's running out there, so that you know the philosophy and the rules that, Ken was in a very, very heated race this last fall. We all know that. And fortunately, he came out on top. I make no bones when I say that. But But for him to take on that leadership role and to go through that for the job that he's done, in my opinion, was a travesty. He spent a great deal of money just to be able to be Franklin mayor. And so we need to know our candidates. We need to study those men and women that are putting their name forth. And for goodness sakes, take time out to vote. Even in his race, only 30% of the people came out to vote in Franklin, Tennessee, and that's not going to get it done.
All right, we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to ask if you have any last thoughts since we've sat here and talked today, or anything you didn't say in your opening statement that you'd like to say. Hallie, anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Just thank you for having us. Thank you for caring about your community. You wouldn't be here today to listen to each of us talk if you didn't. And so thank you for that. I do hope that everyone gets involved. If you'd like to come to Nolensville, please come and spend your tax dollars because we need it for roads.
So non-for-profits and churches and small businesses, they contribute a lot to the community. I ask you to never take that for granted. This church that we're meeting in right now, some people got together and said, hey, let's allow this to happen. They don't have to do this, but they allowed it to happen. So thank you, specifically this church, for holding this venue. Do not take that for granted. So my encouragement to you all, and be contagious about this, is that be thankful to the people that make a difference in your life positively. Thank you.
It's exciting to see so many people here and so many people who care. I think that's what excites me more than anything, is when people get involved, because we try to do a really good job for our communities. I know these mayors work really hard, and we want what's best. We want to not raise taxes, and we want to have good infrastructure and roads and good controlled growth that is good for our communities. But we need everyone in our community to get involved in some way or another and just help us and give us your input, because without your input, we can't move forward the way our communities would like to see things happen. But we've got a great crowd here, and we're so excited to be up here and be able to tell you a little bit about each one of our communities. Thank you.
Just want to thank everyone for being here this morning, and number one, the residents of Thompson Station allowing me to serve them. It's been an honor. I'm on my 8th year of being an elected official, and every year gets better, quite honestly. And it's all due to the residents and really working with them to better understand what they want. But we have a beautiful town in Thompson Station, and we have every goal of keeping it that way. But we encourage everyone to really come out, visit our town, May 14th, 4 to 6. Come see our new town hall, but check out all the other things that we have in our community. But again, the one thing I can ask everyone is to just love your neighbor, be respectful of everyone, and just enjoy your days. Thank you.
Thank you.
And go have some fried chicken with you,
You
right?
skipped over Ken.
I'm sorry. We're going to let the big mayor finish last. How's
Finish
that?
last, okay.
But even though he is all of our mayor.
Right.
And first of all, it's such a great honor to be able to work alongside these mayors from the communities. And I think that I can tell you that we're all going to work to continue to keep our county the best place to live, work, and raise our family. We have something very, very special, not only in our individual cities, but our county. People look to us all the time for leadership on what we're doing in all of these cities in our county. It's a big responsibility for us as elected officials. It's a big responsibility for you as citizens of Franklin, Nolensville, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Fairview, Brentwood, to participate and keep what we have that is so special. It can go away just like that. So we can't recreate it if we lost it. So do everything you can to help continue to build what we have, and let's not be tearing down what we have.
Wrap us up, Roger.
I think you've heard a lesson in civics today from 6 cities, 1 county, that you'll never have metropolitan form of government in Williamson County. They all love their cities, and they all love what they do and what they bring to the table, which makes us a better county. It's interesting, Ken made reference to an article in Wall Street Journal. There was another article in Wall Street Journal last month that identified the zip code of 37046 as the wealthiest zip code in America. That's in your community. That's people moving in here, and they are part of our fabric, and they're just making it a better place for all of us to live and worship and play and raise our families. So thank you to all of you for contributing, and to your boards. We'll disagree, but at the end of the day, that's a healthy environment.
And I believe that's College Grove, correct?
That is College Grove.
Thank you. So, thank you to these mayors. Thank them for being here and giving their time. We really appreciate it so much. We have several events coming up in May and June that you can follow us on social media or check out our website. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, please do so. We do want to remind you about May 13th for our next Frank Talks with our monthly lecture series. And then in June, on the 17th, I believe it is, it's the third Monday rather than the second Monday, we'll have Williams County School Superintendent Jason Golden and Franklin Special School District Superintendent Dr. David Snowden giving us a report card on schools during that Frank Talks, which is at 9 a.m. on the third Monday. Also, if you're interested, many of these people are great leaders in their community, and they did that by serving on boards or committees or going through training programs. Leadership Franklin, the applications are open for the next class, and the deadline is coming up on May 24th. Don't miss that opportunity. Brentwood has a leadership program through the Williamson Inc., and so don't miss the opportunity to become engaged. Some of the cities have citizens academies that you can learn more about government or police or fire. If you're interested, be engaged. And then many of them record their meetings and have them available for you to watch or attend in person. They're always open. So do that. And we really appreciate your being here and being engaged in the community this morning. And we will hopefully see you at the, if not at the next Breakfast with the Mayors, which is the end of July, July 30th, right back here. So thanks so much, and go out and make it a great day in Williamson County.
Could be where you die.